Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we are, what, mid-January?
Yes.
Mid-ish?
Yeah.
Almost exactly mid.
The year is going to fly by this year.
2023 is in swing. And we're back. I think Eve's going first. I've got news to share, so hurry up.
So today I'm going to be working on the Winterberry, this second one that I've been working on with the bird. What is it called? Ice Show. I haven't gotten very far because I've been doing other things. I've been sleeping, watching TV. I don't know. I was, the last couple of days, I was just not interested in doing anything. I was like, you know, I gotta get up off my rear end and get some stuff done. But I think I was exhausted from putting away Christmas. Anyway.
You're gonna end up having eventually stop using that as an excuse.
We're gonna get far enough away from Christmas.
Yeah, like, I'm still,
I'm so tired.
So then I'll use Beth Explosion on the table.
I'm gonna be exploding pretty regular every month. Like,
You're gonna be exploding?
Imagine.
Okay, so this is my second WIP-GO call for January. Cute Boots by Joe Gattenby for X's and O's. And I have been working on it since the 16th. When was that? 4 days ago.
Monday.
4 days ago. I guess I should have brought the other one, but I don't think it had any appreciable difference. I think it was the same. Okay, so this is where I am, and I'm coming around. This right here is the bottom of his body, so you know it's not going to take too terribly long to fill that in. Then I have his legs and his boots and
so
the water.
Cute. I love him.
He's so cute. He's very cute. His little face.
Are you going to add the words, or are you debating?
I don't know. Probably.
Jury's out.
Yeah. I don't. And this is my own design.
That's so. I can't believe
greatest
how
story.
far you've come on it. Is that your last? Is that the last
This
one?
is the last one. Yeah.
Wow.
This is the angel talking to Mary. I just went, I want to finish this, and so I just sat there and worked on this a couple of days. So,
May I see it up close? May I see you?
I can't.
Oh wow, that's really beautiful. That's neat.
Yeah, the wise men. It's just them traveling. It's not them there. I don't have the traditional scene of everybody around the, you know, because the story is everything that happens before that. So, there's that. And I guess, like I said, I haven't been doing a whole lot. The only other thing I've been working on is the Temperature SAL. This is designed by Kristen Ashley, Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts.
It is.
I
keep
the
talking
design.
every week. I'm like, I'm almost jealous of it.
I love the design. And we had a cold weekend. It was raining.
Ooh, it was so cold.
Yeah. So here I am.
You got some variety at least.
Yeah, you can see that we're back to the colors that it was, you know, around the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, yesterday morning I went out for something. Beth and I were going to go out, and it was like late morning. It wasn't, you know, first thing like 7 o'clock or anything. And I was cold, but I was wearing short sleeves. And by the time we finished our errand, I had the window open. I was like, it is so beautiful. This is why people move here.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful out. And, you know, you could, I can imagine if you enjoyed being outside, that I don't like being outside. That, you know, hiking and all that would be great this time of year.
So
Anyway, that's all I've done.
Okay. Well, forgive me if I'm texting. That's
Excuse
part of my stories because I gotta keep an eye on one of my kids. So, are you going next?
I can.
Okay, go next.
Okay. I got a bunch of things done.
You got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I had on my WIP-GO, of course. Last week I basically finished because I think last Saturday was day 6, and my goal was 6 days on each of my 2 WIPs, which I did last week. I showed last week, but also on my WIP-GO board, I had an FFO for each square and a new start for each square. So I think I had talked about this new start because it was my New Year's new start, Spicy Disaster. It says, I'm not a hot mess, I'm a spicy disaster. And let me just pull this needle around to the back so it's not sticking out. So this is where I am so far.
That's cute.
It's very colorful.
Yeah.
And I think, it's one of these that comes with a hoop to finish it in.
Oh.
And I was thinking of getting like some orange ribbon or something. Because I noticed, I was looking at it and I thought, that looks really good. Because it echoes the orange hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it echoes the orange in the pattern.
That's so not like you.
Yeah, it's very colorful.
It's very different. But it's pretty.
Yeah.
I like this.
So,
this is nice.
Yeah, this is Carolina linen from Hobby Lobby. From Joann's. I said DMC, and it came with white Aida in the kit, and it was I thought, I could do that, but I like I said, I've said before, I have an aversion to stitching on white anymore, and I hadn't had time to dye it because it was all of a sudden it was New Year's. I'm like, oh yeah, I should start something. So I was about to start it, but then I realized I had this piece of linen, and there's a little bit of white in this pattern, and I thought the white would show up better on this, sort of sandy color, of the Carolina linen, and also right here I put the little squares, for the letters, some of the lettering here, and there's some fractional stitches, and I thought, on Aida that would have been much more difficult. It wouldn't have been impossible, but it's much easier on when you're doing 2/2 on linen. So anyway, there's that. So I've been working on it. I started it on New Year's Day, and then I had set it aside while I did my other WIP stuff. And then picked it up again and have been working on it. So the other new start I had, and I don't know if how much of it you can tell from this, but there's dragonfly wings and a little beginning of an ant. I haven't done the dragonfly body yet, and the little ant.
Cute.
And this is an Owl Force embroidery kit called Dragonfly and Ant. It says it in Russian, in Cyrillic, but in English it's called Dragonfly and Ant. And it's one of they have a bunch of little series of fables. So I bought these a few years ago. This is the copyright on this is 2019, and I think I bought it in 2019 or 2020. I bought the 3 kits. I bought the whale and the Monster Wonder Whale, which I've shown here, and one that I finished called Elephant and Pug, and then this one, Dragonfly and Ant. And they're nice little kits because they come with fabric and threads and even a needle. And the bigger kit, the Monster Wonder Whale kit, came with a needle minder. These little bitty ones don't, but they come with all the very nicely serged linen. This little piece of linen, I think it's Zweigart, but it's it's serged all the way around, so it's just and it's beautiful to stitch on. It's really nice.
But I don't think you can get them right now.
I don't know, probably not, you know, but which is a shame because they're really nice.
Maybe you can somehow.
Yeah, but then the other thing on my WIP-GO board was to FFO something. So I have one for, you know, each square. So this one, I was looking through all my stuff to try to find the finished chart. I know I've shown it in the past, so I just don't know where I put it when I finished it. But this is Midnight Meow, and it's a Jiffy Dimensions kit, and the designer is Gail Glass, I think. But I finished this a long time ago, and I finally finished it. I got this little board at Hobby Lobby. Has a little string on it, so you can hang it. And
It's cute how it's uneven. On
You
purpose.
finished that last year with WIP-GO.
The stitching, yeah. And it's actually one of my oldest WIPs. I bought it.
Look at you putting the random dots.
Yeah. I painted it black, and at first I tried to use the stencil that I bought, and I've lost my stenciling mojo, or I don't know what, but I couldn't make it work. I kept coming up with yellow blobs.
It could be because wood is textured, you know, and
Maybe.
so it's not flat.
Yeah, because you know, a long time ago, the bed that we had when we were kids, it's a metal bed that I think it came from my grandmother's house, and my parents actually had it for them, and then when Eve and I were young, before Naomi was born, we shared that bed. My parents gave it to us, and they bought themselves.
Bed.
Huh?
It's a full size.
Yeah, full size bed. So Eve and I shared it, and my parents bought a new bed, and so we had this old bed. And then at some point, me and Eve and Tim, I think, were all jumping on the bed and broke it. It was wooden, and we broke the slats or something. And so my parents then took that brass bed back for themselves.
You
and
broke
The
Mom and
headboard.
Dad's
The
bed?
headboard. She's just
I
talking
don't
about the
know.
headboard.
No,
But-
it's footboard too.
No, I mean, we broke the inside part of the bed, not the headboard.
Yeah. And so, so anyway, they took the brass bed back, and then Eve and I had individual beds or whatever. So my parents had this bed for a long time, and at some point, I spray painted it white, and I stenciled on these like butterflies or something on there. And I remember doing that, and it was, you know, it came out really nice. And so I thought, when I saw this stencil to do the little stuff, I thought, oh yeah, I can do that, and you know, blah blah blah. And then, like, you know, like I said, when I was trying to do it, it kept coming out wrong, and I kept like having to wipe it off and like paint over the, you know. So finally, I just used the other end of the paintbrush, the wooden end, and just dipped it and did all these little stars.
Looks so good. If
'Cause
you
I
hear
used to-
noise, it's the dog.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time when I used to go to the Painted Pig, which is one of those paint your own pottery places, and you know, use that to make dots. So it looks very much like the French knots that are in the design. So it came out very nice. And I put the red around it and the little jingle bell because the one cat is wearing a red collar with a jingle bell on it.
Cute.
So
Very cute.
so there's that. And
That's so nice.
the other FFO I
I
had
am so proud of you. Yeah.
was the other FFO I had was this from this booklet, this safari, and the designer is Kathy Livingston, and it came.
I gave her a toy to try to keep her from being destructive and barking. So,
And I just kicked her.
So this book is just called Safari, and it comes with a giraffe, a zebra, and an elephant. And so I did this elephant, and so that was on my FFO list for this month. So
That's beautiful.
this little wooden square thing I bought at Walmart, And I did like take a piece of sandpaper and just kind of like, you know, go over it once or twice because I felt like I was gonna get a splinter just from touching it. But so I mounted this on sticky board, and it was kind of an ordeal to sort of cut it because because it's very thick and very hard. But the other one, the Midnight Meow thing, is mounted on foam core. Yeah, and I had originally thought I would mount like a square of fabric behind it just to give it a framing or whatever. But then I kind of didn't like the options that I had. I like it like this. Even though the elephant is done on white and this is off white, I still like the
I think
way
it looks
it's finished.
great. It makes it pop.
And so I wanted to put something around it, and so I was talking with Eve about should I put fabric, should I do something, blah blah blah. And then I realized I had several skeins of this yarn. Some time ago, Michelle Bendy Stitchy was talking about how she had used yarn to finish, I don't know if it was a pillow or if it was something like this, but just, using it as a frame. And I know I used black yarn before to frame something else, yeah. And so I had because at one point I don't remember what I was working on.
I think it was a pillow.
That I was looking for.
Chenille.
Yeah, and I was looking for, I had in my head a specific color of green, and then I kept buying skeins of yarn going, oh, this is not it's not the color I thought it was, or it's not, doesn't match the way I thought it would. And so I had like a dark green and this green. This is actually it's called olive, but it's a velvet textured yarn, and Eve was looking at it and we were thinking, yeah, it looks very much like a grass around this elephant.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah. So and it's not too like bam,
Yeah.
It blends in very nicely. So I just glued that down around the trim, and here it is.
Very nice.
So we'll put that.
That is very cool.
And then
I'm impressed.
when I was looking for that safari booklet, I thought, well, it's I looked in several places for it, but on February 1st is Winter Crossstitch Camp. But Sherry,
I forgot to talk about that.
yeah, Sherry Truax Berger is I think I've got splinters from that thing. Is the woman who behind Colorado Cross Stitcher is her online name, and that's she has a shop, but also she does YouTube videos. But anyway, so she has done Cross Stitch Camp in the summer, and then last year and again this year she has Winter Camp, which it begins on February 1st. And the challenge this year is to do something that is part of a series, either part of a series you have going, or the beginning of a new series. And I had been wanting to do the cottage garden samplings, and I didn't bring it up here. It's in my back here in my bag. The cottage garden samplings, A Year in the Woods collections, and I had been wanting to start it, and I'm having like fabric issues because anyway, but so the patterns are like 100 by 130 or something like that, and so they're 100 across, and they're just not quite, they're just a little bit too big to put, to use the one piece of fabric for two of them. Unless I do them both on Directed by Dog Activity, but it gave me a chance to grab these. So for winter camp, I wanted to start these cottage garden sampling A Year in the Woods collection because I have all 12 of them, and but like I said, I was having a fabric dilemma because I wanted to do them all in the same fabric, and but I didn't know, I was like, oh, I don't have to use a whole piece of fabric for each one. But what I think I'm gonna do is, if I put them close together and just put like a few stitches in between, then I think I can do two on a piece of fabric. So I'm going to do the first two. Oh, I'm gonna start on one, but I'm gonna put them together because I thought what I do with the fabric is gonna determine how I do the whole series. So I'm like, I don't know. So I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And so I think I'm gonna just do them like, you know, close together like this. And so do two on a piece of fabric, two on each piece. And so the first one I'm gonna do is the fox. So I'm gonna start it on February 1st. And
so pretty.
yeah. The fabric I have to do them on is a sort of a green dyed over Bristol linen, which is sort of natural color. It's a darker.
You should do one of these
thing.
green ones then.
Well, they're all going to be in the same fabric, so they're all, yeah.
She's too regimented. She wants to do them in the.
Oh, I see. Well, that makes sense. I thought you were gonna.
So
No, they're all going to be in the same fabric.
did I show you what I ordered to do the same thing?
No,
Um,
but you have an odd number.
No, there's 12. Believe me.
1, 2. Maybe I counted 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought I was doing them by 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, you're making me crazy.
So I found a berry that has a snowman on it.
11.
Oh, really?
It's really cute.
10.
Well, I'll put a picture here. But I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. I did on my video, but it should be arriving today.
9, 8,
And I don't know what fabric I want to use. I think I want to go to the attic.
7,
and see.
6, 5, 4.
3, 2,
3,
1. Okay,
2,
you're
1.
right. Stand corrected. They were sticking together
Yeah.
probably.
Anyway, so and I have the linen there, but I don't want to pull it out. But so I'm starting on the fox, and I think I had thought about like, do I want to do them over one? You know, and I decided not to do that because I think it'll make me crazy because they're very detailed and all that. Because I was looking at the patterns, going like looking for if there are any fractional stitches, or is there any overworn in it, but there's not. But I think, you know, I can, what I want to do is possibly like come up with some kind of border to, you know, to separate like the two side by side. Just put like, I thought if I could do like just 5 stitches in between them and just put this border down there or something like that, put them very close together, then they should fit on this one piece of fabric. But
Can I ask a question?
I saw somebody that it was doing these and they decided not to put the little houses in.
Mm.
Everyone has a little
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, with a little house in each one. Yeah.
She said, "Oh, I don't like the house. I'm not putting it in."
So you're gonna finish them 2 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was asking, can you ever buy cloth on which to do cross stitch by the yard?
Oh yeah.
Like just yards and yards and
Yeah.
yards?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you can.
So why don't you?
Because I usually just go to
then
Hobby
you have
Lobby
to
and
cut
buy
it.
the little ones, yeah. Because
Yeah.
well, and I think certain fabrics, it kind of depends, you know, some of them are available by the yard.
Are
It's-
you gonna buy enough for the whole series right away at the
Yeah,
same time?
yeah.
I was gonna say
I
you
think
better.
she
Yeah, I
already
have-
I
I
think
have-
she already has most of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I have 4 pieces that are already dyed and 2 pieces that are undyed.
I see.
And so that I have to do that. But the only thing is that I was trying to remember if because I overdye them with this green, but I don't know if I did green and another color or if it was just green. So, but anyway, so that's my February 1st start, and I'm gonna see if I can finish that. And I don't know, because I'm also gonna have the whatever the pools are for WIP-GO for for February,
Oh yeah.
and
I
February
forgot.
is a short month.
When is she
and
gonna
so-
call those?
On the 25th.
25th. That's next week.
I think it's next Monday, next
No,
Tuesday.
Monday's 23rd.
So maybe the Tuesday,
Wednesday.
whatever. But anyway, so then also when I was looking for that safari elephant, because I couldn't remember if that was the exact name, and I couldn't remember the designer name. But I had it in my my big giant notebook of to be stitched pieces, and because of the other two animals that are on there that I haven't stitched yet. But anyway, that I don't know if I will or not. But so I was looking through that notebook, and I found this wonderful little Silver Creek Samplers piece that I think is going to be one of my new starts sometime this year. Your greatness is not in what you have, but what you give. And it's this little bunny giving a carrot to a snowman for his nose. It's so cute. It's so adorable. And also, I think I'm going to do this stoneware bunny at some point, because I've already done one of my FFOs to be finished is the snowman that she did. This is by Priscilla's Pocket. And so I have the two little kitties. I have one is kitten and one is cat, I think, of these little pillows, and the snowman. And so then this one would be great too. And it's a little kit. It comes with fabric and finishing
did that
pom-poms
one.
and some thread. Yeah, I gave one to you.
Yeah, you had two actually.
Yeah, because I bought two.
Double butt.
Yeah.
Double bought.
But the other
I never
thing,
did finish it.
huh?
I never did actually finish it.
But the other thing is that this is a pattern that I thought was lost, and it is appropriately called Lost and Found, because I knew I had it in my hands at some point, sitting at my computer, and I was afraid it had, because I was on the computer, I was making a list, and of the like sizes of things, because I was gonna, I was putting matching fabric to patterns to see what I could do, and I knew I had this in my hand at that point, but then I couldn't find
Is that
it.
the one that you thought went
Yes,
behind
and I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I thought, well, maybe I dropped it while I was at the computer, and it's behind the computer desk, which would be a nightmare, because I'd have to take everything off of the computer desk and to move it, because the printer is there and the monitor and blah blah blah. And it's in a little cubby hole, because the way this house is built, they built it with a little cubby hole for you to put your television in. And A, we don't have a television that small anymore, and B, that's just not the way our room, we have the room configured. But my computer desk fit very nicely in this little cubby hole. But I didn't want to have to do that. And the other thing I thought was, well, maybe I dropped it and it's under the couch that's right there. But I thought, I hadn't seen it. We kind of had slid the couch around on occasion, and it wasn't there. And I thought, well, I could move the couch, or I don't know. But I just put it off looking for it. But then I found it in my notebook.
Where it belonged?
Yes.
You made a mistake and put it away?
Yes.
Like Dad
like
said?
Dad used to
Dad
say
used
all
to
the
say
time.
all the time.
Made a mistake and put it away. And when you clean, you find treasures.
That's what Mom used to
My
say.
mom used to say. But the text on here says, I'm a lost sheep gone astray. Shepherd, find me, this I pray. Oh, shepherd, listen to my prayer and keep me in thy loving care.
That's so
That's
pretty.
such a pretty, beautiful thing. And it's got a sheep. And a big sheep on it. And I had gotten this confused with, I have a Lindy Stitches thing that has a sheep on it. And it's a similar idea of this, sheep and all that. But anyway, these are by Diane Grick for Silver Creek Samplers. These
So
two.
pretty.
So I don't know what when exactly I'm going to do them, but I'm going to do the lost and found one.
I found the picture of the.
Oh.
Oh, how cute. We'll put it up.
I don't have it where I could download it, but I'm like,
Take
take
a
a
screenshot.
yeah, I can do that.
Take a screenshot.
But, so I think
Send that
that's me.
Okay. So me. My WIP-GO was the little shawl, the shawl for mouse. I haven't done anything on it this week. I actually took it out of my knitting bag. It's like, this is in my way. And because I've been working on my three rectangles and 2 triangles sweater, this is the back. Oh, I made the second pocket. I made the second pocket. So I have 2 pockets. This one was a swatch, and this was the swatch to make sure I was stitching the right gauge. And I decided to go ahead and make the second pocket so they would be identical and not like 3 months apart. You know what I mean? So I have 2 pockets, and I started the back. So yeah, this is the front side.
Don't you find that, like, some days your knitting or whatever is very tight, and then a month later, it's just completely different.
Yeah.
And you know, depending on what your mood is and how you're feeling, and
it's very I try to knit consistently in the way that I sort of tighten my stitches on the needles. I've gotten kind of good at that. I think that's what keeps my gauge pretty steady. But yes, that you can find that, and that's why I don't. It's hard when you are coming back to a WIP that's months and months old or a year. Because you can see, like, and in, like, Eli's sweater, I switched from a bamboo needle to it was also wooden, but it was, like a glazed wood. And you can, I think maybe now that it's been washed so many times, you can't see it as readily, but you could see the line on the sweater where I switched needles. Because I bought a new needle kit, you know? But, so this is the 3 rectangles, 2 triangles sweater. It's going to be a cardigan, and this is the back. And it's like a mock rib kind of look. It lays nice and flat. It's nice and thick and cozy. It's made with bulky yarn. So this will be the bottom of the back of the jacket. And I'm just basically knitting inches. And then I'll knit 2 smaller rectangles for the fronts. Then I'll knit triangles. So this is just for me. This is going to be something for me, which I almost never make things for me. And so that's what that is. And I'm having fun with this. This is just a new start. I got a wild hair and decided to do that. And I'm almost done with my first ball of yarn of 10. So 1 down, 9 to go. And then Jordan's sweater. When I was here last, I think I had finished the ribbing. And so I switched to the body size. I increased, I think it was like 11 stitches, something like that, to get to the body number, and from the ribbing to the body. And I started on the body knitting, and see. You know, I noticed that the photos that I took have a very different color hue. Than
they look very blue.
Yeah, they're much more purple. That was just how my phone took it, but this, you can start to see the striping. It's very subtle in this yarn. It's going to get more exciting. It's going to have blues and blacks and things. But it's a very subtle yarn.
But it's not going to be bright purple.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
The color you're seeing here is not
a little
quite
different.
true to the color.
Right.
But
the color in the photos was very
off.
purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, and it has to do with where I take it and how my phone interprets the colors and that kind of thing. But what you're seeing on the screen is not even the true colors either. So I think part of it's the lighting. I don't know. But anyway, so that's going. I work on that regularly because I don't have to count or do anything. I just knit, which is nice. So take that to work. Speaking of wild hairs, I saw on Arnie and Carlos's newsletter that they were being featured in Modern Daily Knitting's field guides that they make, and they were going to start a knit-along. So I heard from Arnie and Carlos, sorry, the dog was eating again, things that aren't edible. So I heard from Arnie and Carlos that they were going to be featured in the Modern Daily Knitting's Field Guide number 23, the first of the year. And Modern Daily Knitting puts out, I think it's 4 field guides a year. And Arne and Carlos were going to be the designers for the first one, which piqued my interest. And they said, we're going to do a knit along, which they never do, starting February 1st. So I was like, was ist das? So I went and ordered, I subscribed for the whole year, which means, and it came very fast. And Field Guide number 23 are the designs by Arne and Carlos. There's a set-style hat. It's a pullover called Valdres, rosy mittens, and it says Kos neck warmer. I think that's how you say it. I'll find out how to say it when because they're keeping it a secret. But I know which one they're doing for the knit along because of they said, these are the yarns you need. And I looked in the book, because I got the book right away. And I was like, ah. And it also gives you a digital copy, which is nice, which I already put in my iPad. It's a cute little book. So they are going to be doing the set-as-all hat for the knit along, which I thought, that'd be fun. Now this hat is very red. But it's one skein of each color, so I'm actually going to flip the colors, and I'm going to make it the main color blue, and I'm going to put the red in this stripe where the blue is. So I'm flipping their colors around, because I don't dig a red hat, but I dig a blue hat. So this is, and the reason I wanted to do it, and I want to do it with their wool, it's, the wool is by Rowan, but it's designed by them, the colors are designed by them, and it's Norwegian wool. I never worked with their wool products, 100% wool, really good for color work, so I'm excited. So I ordered the wool. So they're like, if you want to order the wool, here's the link. So I clicked on it, and a lot of them were sold out, most of them already, because everyone had already, as soon as they said it, they went and ordered. So I was at work, searching around for some place that carried all the colors of the wool, and I found a place in England. So I ordered, and I was like, I didn't realize they were in England. I'm like, $12 for shipping? Are you kidding me?
Whoops.
But no, then I got there, and I'm like, well, I don't care. And then I got an email like, we're in England. I was like, oh. Anyway, so that's the hat, but I'm going to turn the colors around. And then the other, so it's a cute little book. I could never use this book to knit from. It's so small, but it's beautiful. And there's the sweater. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
Mm.
Yeah.
I love their designs. And this sweater is knit like these sweaters. And I'm so glad that I learned from Jacqueline Fee, may she rest in peace, how to knit a sweater from the bottom up in the round, and then knit the sleeves, and then join the whole thing together and knit. That's exactly how this is made. I'm so excited because I was like, I can do this. And I understood the instructions as I was reading them. I'm like, oh, I get it. So that was exciting. And then it has a little article about taking a coffee break in Norway and Sweden. And then it has these mittens, which are those mittens they're pointed at the top instead of rounded the way we make them.
Don't they give mittens a lot? People in Norway, they give mittens.
Well, no, that's actually in Latvia.
Is it?
In Latvia, I saw a whole thing, because the whole Latvian mitten is a thing, where as a young girl, you start learning to knit and you make mittens until you get married. You just make mittens and mittens and mittens and mittens, because when you get married, you have to give a pair of mittens to the clergyman. You have to give a pair of mittens to your husband. You have to give a pair of mittens to your in-laws. You have to give a pair of mittens to I don't know who, and then everyone at your wedding gets mittens. And it's all like specific, like it's beautiful, and it's like specific designs. I guess this is traditionally what's been done, and I think the groom makes mittens for his I don't know. It's like mitten crazy over there.
Yeah, but it's cold.
Freezing.
Gorgeous, but they're needed.
Yeah.
It's cold there.
Yeah, and so here's the inside of those mittens. I'll put pictures close up on all these. So the inside, so the outside has this filigree pattern. And I don't like the red, but I would make them, like I said, in the other colors. Oh, here's one in red and black. They show it in a different colorway. So they have that pointy, that's how they do their mittens. And then and the charts are so intricate. And then they also have the last pattern is this neck warmer. it's like a turtleneck with then a piece of it's like a big cowl, but with a small turtleneck. Instead of a big opening for the cowl, you have a fitted neck, and then it goes over your shoulders, which is really nice. That's kind of a Phoenix thing. I think like this would go well, like in Phoenix, you know, under your coat when it's just a little bit chilly. It's so cold downtown where I work that I feel like I need to dress for like Eastern winter just to go to work.
Yeah,
And then,
I was
the
gonna
weather
say,
is different downtown Phoenix.
And you have
In
like
the
those
summer, it's
tunnels
hotter.
with the made by the buildings.
yeah,
you
there's
know,
and
that
the
shade
wind, and it's never really sunny,
Mm,
and yeah.
I
And
read
then-
something somewhere about some like I guess they're like basically design flaws with modern building, and there was this one building, I don't remember if it was in England or where it was, where the sun hit it just at the right angle and it like baked. You know, you could like fry an egg outside because the sun
well,
would hit it, and
I don't
you know.
I don't know if I told you one time I was waiting for the bus, and I was cold, but my back was burning hot because there's a big glass building right behind, and at 5 o'clock or whatever, the where the bus stop is in shadow, but the sun hit the building behind and was burning the back of my neck. Yeah, it's crazy. So this is Field Guide 23 by Modern Daily Knitting. You can go to moderndailyKnitting.com to get it. I guess you can buy the field guides individually, but I went ahead and subscribed. It's only for a year and it doesn't renew, which I like. So I'll get these and I will keep you posted. But I was really excited to get this, and I'm excited to try to do a knit along with Arne Carlos. I don't know. It'll be basically Arne finishing the hat in 2 seconds and Carlos never finishing it because he knits very slowly. They're so funny. And then I also got this in the mail. And I was reading a thing, this morning on Missouri Star on Facebook, their group there.
Some were talking about the book.
Yeah, so it said, I want to know what you think of Block Magazine. And people were like, I used to like it, but I unsubscribed, and I blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And it never has, or it has very few large quilt patterns. Can you believe that? It's mostly table runners and small things. I'm
it's not.
No, it's not.
That's what I made Robert's quilt from.
I know.
It's all over.
Okay, I don't get this book and knit. I don't knit anything in this book because it's not knitting. But I don't sew all these quilts, but I have them. And when I want to make a quilt, I go through and I look at them and I find.
Let me see
And
this time.
I haven't even seen it yet, but I want to. There's some cool things in here. Yeah, and we share them.
They have a digital version that gives you even more stuff.
Right, and that's what people were saying. But see, here's all the quilts. Now, some of them are table runners and some are quilts, and here's a bag pattern.
Depends on what they designed that year.
And you get lots of stuff.
And not only that, but you can use those as an idea thing. You say, well, I like this, but I need to do it in this way.
Right.
But you have the at least the pattern or the, you know.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, I love their triple play on YouTube. The 3 different versions of basically the same idea.
Right.
I watched about less than half of this last one because there are no babies in our family. It was baby quilts. There are no babies in our family. Hopefully there won't soon be any babies in our family. And I don't know anybody who is having babies. So babies are not something that are on my radar. Now, if I wanted to, if there was somebody that I knew was going to have a baby, I know where I can look and find baby quilts.
Exactly.
And the ideas are there.
The biggest thing I like about this magazine is that because it's their own publication, there's no ads. So every single page is worthy of you looking and worthy of being printed. And there's lots of articles. Now, I don't sit down and read it.
And beautiful color photography.
And the photography's great. And, and like somebody was saying, I wish that they would test these out on me,
Test what out?
these patterns on like beginner or intermediate sellers.
Every single
They're
one
too
of those
hard. I'm like,
patterns
they're
have
so
been done.
easy to. Oh, and there's measurement errors. I'm like, I've never. And I guess they do have a like her corrections page on their website or whatever. But I'm like, I don't know what y'all are. I think they just wake up and like, what can I complain about today? But I love this magazine. It's worth every penny. I just renew my subscription over and over. My husband doesn't even say anything. He just like, your block came today.
I saw a video of the quilt I made for Robert, and it was in one of your block magazines. And I didn't have to buy the pattern. There it was in the block magazine.
Yep.
And the instructions were so easy. The pictures, there was pictures with every instruction of every step by step. And,
and it even at the back, it talks about how much you need for, just general, how to do binding, how to do borders.
Well, and take cross-stitch patterns. Now, there are a lot of designers that I like. Well, this pattern, okay?
Yeah.
Very, very cute. Love the duck.
Be the duck.
It's a black and white pattern.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to keep track of what you're doing because it's black and white. And other designers, I know it's more expensive, but their patterns are full color. And these are much easier to follow.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with something like that, is that when you're looking at color, it's easier for your mind to separate the pieces,
Yeah. Ooh. That's pretty. Look at that one. That's gorgeous.
Now, granted, cross-stitch patterns are rarely as big as quilts. So.
Right. Well, there's some, I love this bed runner. That's beautiful. My bed is never made long enough to have a bed runner on. If we're telling the honest truth. Anyway, I love this magazine. If you're thinking about it, I would say it's worth it.
Well, and you don't have to buy all of them or a subscription. You can buy single ones.
Yeah, you can buy
and
back episodes.
If you're worried about the cost of this, you can buy the patterns individually.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much it is. Not to sound privileged, but it's a renewal on my.
When I saw this pattern on the YouTube channel, I was like, I love this. It's a black and white geometric thing.
I didn't even look at that one.
It's beautiful, and I was like, oh, I love that, and I was like, I gotta do it. No,
what's
I
nice
have
is
enough
too
patterns.
a lot of these patterns they do videos on, so you can go back and reference the video, and sometimes the book has more info, and and then the video tells you more about how to do it, and oh, that's cool. Oh wow.
It's a geometric pattern. I don't know if I can
I can put it close up.
Yeah, it's this geometric pattern here, and it's.
Let me see the photo of the actual.
It's yardage.
Oh, it's yardage. That's nice.
Excuse me. The
Oh, here's the photo of the actual quilt on a couch. That's neat.
Mm-hmm.
You can do any color combo you want. It doesn't have to be black and white.
But when I saw it come up on her thing, I was like,
and see,
that is so.
Thing,
a man would love that geometric quilt. It does not look feminine at all. People always saying, what pattern do you think would be appropriate for a college kid, a college young man? And I'm like, something that doesn't look girly.
They they also have like a fiction story that somebody writes in here, and there's lots of articles about different quilty stuff and about the Doan family, and it's really cool. Anyway.
But if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Yeah,
but you don't have to be ugly.
So,
oh, I was going to tell you, I just saw this morning, I just noticed that quilt that you made me is a tear in one of the fabric squares.
In the square bit, or in the
in the square?
In the square itself. Well, we could put a patch on it.
There's a Just Get It Done Quilts. She has a video all about fixing things like that.
Oh, that's cool. You can do it for me.
No, I can't.
But so that is me in the knitting world. I have stories though. I have so many stories. You want to start?
Beth told her story already.
All right. Here's my first story. This morning I get the dreaded text. I slipped and fell on the ice.
Oh, from Hannah?
It's like
Oh.
literally every time she'll say it's snowing, and I'm like, don't slip on the ice. That's what I tell her. Like every time it snows, don't slip on the ice. Be careful
my
on the ice. Be
goodness.
careful, 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 careful.
Did she hurt herself?
Yeah. So a couple of days ago, she tells me my teacher has to have surgery on her arm, on her left arm, because she slipped and fell in Spain, and then came back to Boston and had to have surgery, broke her arm. So that was, and then this morning, I know those are cute, reusable gift bags. It's so cute. This morning, I see all these texts come through. She says that she was going out to, let's see, oops, I shoot, hold on, sorry. I want to be accurate about my story. She says I was taking out my trash and I was going to get some breakfast, and the steps weren't salted. I had no idea they were icy, and I slipped and fell on my back. And then she hit her back on the step and then hit her head.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, my.
And she says, I think I'm fine, but my head and back hurt a little. And so I called her, and I'm like, this, like, does it hurt when you take a deep breath? She doesn't have any dizziness or any signs of, like, concussion, but I still want her to I'd like her to get checked out. She's like, I have to practice. I have to go to school, I have a rehearsal. I mean, she's so busy, and I'm like, well, none of that's going to happen if you have a concussion. Like, you need to take care of yourself. And so she's feeling better. That's why I was texting with her a little while ago. Oh, I'm like, and you need to call your landlord and tell them. Which I don't know if she did, but worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So that happened this morning, and you're like, I'm sure she's fine, but just this urge to get on the airplane, But I don't know, it could be much worse.
Well, that's like as a musician that that you just like you have to
take care of your body.
Yeah, I knew a girl who was she was one of our viola players, and she was exercising at home, like one of a step with a little step, she was doing step aerobics or whatever, and she fell, and she landed like on her rear end. She put her hands behind her like this, and they were talking about how she was very lucky that she didn't have like a broken coccyx or whatever, but she broke both her wrists. And so for the rest of the season, she was like, she had casts and she couldn't play.
What I'm so scared of.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so scared of.
The thing is that a lot of times adults, when they hit their head, they kind of minimize it a little bit. When you're a child, your parent runs you to the doctor. But I keep thinking of what was her name? Liam Neeson's wife, who hit her head skiing.
Natasha.
Yeah, she hit her head skiing
Face,
and just got up and went back to the cabin and.
I know, don't scare me.
I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying.
But
that
I told her, I said, see how you feel. I said, but do not assume it's other things if you feel worse later.
Yeah. So it's so scary.
It is very scary. And she hit her back first, which makes me feel like probably the head was secondary and not, and the headache isn't increasing. She doesn't feel any dizziness or nausea or any of those things. So
it's so hard being so far away because
you
can't go and make sure
and,
she's.
And and she's like, I promise, if I didn't feel right, I would not, ignore it.
I was just reading an article about some city, I think, that did away with their mandatory bicycle helmet rule.
Oh,
and because they had a whole,
Smart.
you know, they were, I guess that, you know, the police were, you know, handing out tickets, but they found that a lot of times it was like homeless people or, you know, whatever that they were giving tickets to, and, you know.
But their heads don't
And-
matter.
Yeah, well, and so I guess, you know, anyway, so they said they had done away with this mandate, and so this article is about like whether or not, you know, you know, this sort of ongoing thing that we've had with bicycle helmets, and this guy was talking about, you know, that he still would wear one anyway, you know, whether or not they're like, I guess the idea is how they're perceived, you know, that blah 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 whatever, but I remember, you know, like they were talking about like they don't really protect you if you run into a vehicle. You're gonna, because the vehicle is like several thousand pounds and you're just a body or whatever. But one of the things that they were talking about how you can have a minor, you know, just, you know, falling off your bicycle without another vehicle, without a car being present, you know, just an accident, and the helmet can be the difference between a minor injury or a life-changing injury,
Right.
you know, head trauma.
Well, I have a friend, a college friend, who was in a huge wreck on
Mhm.
his cross country bike in the mountains, and his helmet saved his life. I mean,
Yeah.
he would have.
Well, that's that one time I fell off my bike. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and I wasn't going very fast. I was only going about 8 miles an hour, and because I just thankfully I had just like been going 20 miles an hour or so, and I turned the corner and went up this hill, and so I was going slower, and I had a mechanical issue with my bike, but the rear wheel came out, so the pedal went whoop out from under me, and I fell over, and so I wasn't going that fast, and I was like wearing, you know, long sleeves and long pants because it was cold. But I landed on my side and my head hit the ground, and I remember hearing in my ear the smack of the helmet hitting the pavement, and I thought, you know, if I had been a few more inches to the right, I would have hit my head on the curb.
Yeah.
And if I had not been wearing a helmet, I would have had a major, you know, head injury.
Right.
And as it was, you know, like when I had to call my dad from, I had somebody was, you know, I saw their kid, you know, going after the trash or something, so I went to that house and I was like, "Can I use your phone?" And I had to call my dad to come pick me up because I couldn't get the bike back together. And I wasn't far from home, you know, I was just like, I couldn't, you know, and I remember my elbow, you know, had taken the brunt of the fall too. And so I was sitting there with my arm like this, I was waiting for my dad, and I could feel my elbow going like a cartoon, you know.
Well, I'm always so scared that she's gonna, you know, break her arms or worse.
Well, I remember when you were in school, that one time that I think Mark went ice skating, and he fell and hit his
busted
lip.
his lip. Yeah, oboe player, not very smart. Yeah.
But
I know, and you know, I worry about, you know, can she play the violin? But I that's only secondary to, you know, make sure her head is okay.
Yeah.
And I'm a little upset that those steps weren't salted either, and I think you know, like she told me, they're always salted.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not, you know, as cautious as, like, you know, I think maybe, I don't know. It happens to everybody, right? But I'm just like, you gotta be careful. Gotta assume everything is icy when everything's icy, you know?
Well, I remember when that happened, that I was in the shower, and while I was in the shower, I guess Mom was on the phone with Dr. Lacey, and he had to, because it was, you know, the day after Thanksgiving, he had to go in anyway because somebody had, like, you know, cut themselves carving the turkey, I guess, or something, I don't know what. And so she went ahead and took me in, and, you know, and I wasn't badly injured or anything, but, you know, he was like, you know, checking in my ears, you know, to make sure, and my eyes, to make sure I hadn't, you know, cracked my skull or had a concussion or anything.
Right.
But then that afternoon, when I got home, you know, the adrenaline, I guess, was like, you know, had worn off, whatever. So I was really exhausted from the trauma, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But but I had a headache
Yeah.
for the rest of that day. I just like had rung my bell, you know.
You know, with them saying, "Oh, never mind, we won't have that law," wouldn't it be easier to give helmets to homeless people?
That's what they were
that
talking
would-
about, yeah.
that- because to say, oh well, you know, they're getting dinged too many times for not having a helmet because they don't have one, and you know, a good bicycle helmet is not cheap.
Yeah.
My ex and I rode a motorcycle, and I remember it was a bike motorcycle type of shop, but it had a lot of bikes, and there was a sign above the helmets that said, "If you have a $10 head, buy a $10 helmet,"
Yeah. Mhm.
because that can save your life.
Right.
And it just would be more prudent to say their lives are worthy of having a helmet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I realize that that's a lot of money, but you know, there's people that give away lots of stuff.
Well, you
that
know,
would
The
probably
thing
be
is
willing
that
to.
is the city, you know, does the government spend less now? I don't want to on a helmet for people who need it, or on the, you know, because they're not going to turn you away from a hospital.
Or on the
Yeah.
When you
care.
come in, yeah, on the care, when you come in and you don't have coverage, you
Yeah.
know, we take care of people, but it's like, which is less expensive? So,
Yeah.
And the one major accident that my ex had on his bike, he wasn't wearing a helmet because there wasn't a helmet law in the state at that time. I don't know if there is now. And fortunately, you know, he landed on his wallet and not on his head. But there were other times when the helmet came in very handy.
Mhm.
And they're uncomfortable, they're hot, they're this, they're that. You know what?
But you don't wear a helmet when you're taking your trash out.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. And you still have to take your trash out.
I know. So I feel so bad for her.
Yeah.
Okay, so other news. I didn't tell you this.
Yeah.
So you know that I got a new half job,
Mhm.
right? So I had worked in the box office half time, and I got hired in our finance department to help our chief financial officer to do, you know, sort of catch up and do basically, you know, stuff for her, and also doing audits and, you know, all that stuff that she needs. And
Did you give her the duck?
no,
It was on the. I think it was on the.
I saw her
floor.
playing with the duck over there.
Okay, there. It's shredded underneath the
The
table.
duck is dead. This is the episode of shredded toys. One moment.
I didn't know she had.
Okay. The dog is on a streak of eating things that are not edible.
Well,
Again.
I thought she would be better, you know, not barking all the time by giving her
She
toys.
was very happy eating fluff.
And she destroyed 2 toys that
In the space of this
and
video.
and some trash she snuck out of the trash can.
Okay, anyway,
okay, so your news.
Yeah, so I started that job beginning of the year. That was the job, I think. Did I tell the story about how I got that job?
Mm-mm.
How she just came and said, I was like looking for full-time work.
And you thought you thought you were in trouble.
And she was like, can you come talk to us? Yeah, so I got that job beginning of the year. Concurrently, the Symphony's hired a new CEO, and he's starting February 1st. So we had a holiday Monday, President's Day, or whatever, no, MLK Day. And on Tuesday, I was only working half day. And I get a message from my box office manager, are you in the office today? And I texted her back, said, no, I'm only working for finance in the afternoon. I'll be in at 1. She goes, Susan was looking for you. Oops. Anyway, she's like, you know, the CFO was looking for you. And I was like, oh, I must have forgotten to tell her that I'm coming in at 1. So I emailed her, and she goes, that's okay. She goes, my fault. I just need to talk to you. And she typed about our COE when you get a chance. She didn't type CEO. She typed COE whenever you get a chance. And so I was like, okay. And I'm all the way into work, all the rest of that morning and all the way into work. I'm like, COE, what does COE stand for? COE, contract of employment? Like, what does that mean? And of course, I think, am I in trouble? And so I always think that. So I get to work, and she's like, "Oh, good. You know, you're here." And she goes, "Let's shut the door." And I was like,
Am I in trouble?
"Am I in trouble?" And then she goes, "No, I just want to talk to you because Peter's coming, and obviously he doesn't have an assistant, because they didn't have one in the office at the time. It's a long story, but anyway, there's no admin assistant for the CEO in place. So she's like, because the one for the last CEO left a little while ago, and he's like, he's coming in a few days early, but officially starting on the 1st of February, and there's no admin assistant, and we're wondering if you would be willing to work with him, like help him with his calendar, help him get settled, and just sort of in the interim." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she goes, "And you know, once we get the position up, and if you like working with him, you could apply for that job." And I was like, "Yeah." You know, and it's always you never know, right? Because you don't want to get into a Deborah Wears Prada kind of assistant situation. I kind of don't think that's how he's going to be. But what's nice is I get to try him out.
Yeah.
As sort of so I guess I got a new quarter job. I don't know. So basically, like,
So are you going to be doing all three?
I'm going to be doing all three.
Mm.
Basically, when I'm in the box office, I can do any emailing stuff that if the box office is down, but I'm available there by phone, you know, for patrons. But then, I mean, if the phone calls are sparse, I can be doing other stuff. And then when I'm working in the finance side, I'm basically going to mostly be working for him and then working for Susan when he's got downtime. So, so it's kind of exciting. I'm kind of like, yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So, I mean, and I would like to apply for that job. I don't know if I would get it. I don't know that I have enough experience, but I mean, the CFO is kind of recommending me for it, or like, you know, recommending me certainly for this position because I'm available. And she's like, and you understand the confidentiality stuff, and you understand, you know, kind of. And she's like, you're so smart. She's very complimentary. She's a really neat lady, and so
that's nice.
Yeah, so it's been really fun this last couple weeks. I mean, like I say, this full-time job, so hampering my knitting time, but but it's been really cool. So I mean, and that would be a salaried position and probably a lot more than I'm making. So that's kind of fun too. So we'll see. But I'm kind of excited because I've always wanted to be sort of more instrumental, I guess, in like, not that, but I don't want tons of responsibility. Like, I don't want to be like any kind of manager, but I kind of would like to be like an assistant, like helping out, like that kind of administrative stuff. I think it's cool. So, so that's my exciting news. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to get a whole new wardrobe to dress like a grown up.
Well, you know, the way my job was at Family Life was, you know, because I was technically an administrative assistant, and so like I would, you know.
Did you have like like your boss's calendar and stuff, or were you just?
No, that was what was different. Is that in most cases, the administrative assistants for managers, whatever, they would answer the boss's phone, they would keep his calendar, they would do all kinds of stuff like that.
Or her.
And I never did that.
Yeah.
Because when I took over that position, the girl that had the position before me, she used to do that. She used to like print off Glenn's daily calendar and go take it to him and discuss, you know, you have this meeting and that meeting, whatever. But then when I started working with him, he was like, I can answer my own phone. You don't need to answer my phone. And so he just kept his own calendar.
Nice.
Whatever he had meetings or whatever, he, you know, and whenever the phone rang, he would answer. I mean, I still had his phone on my phone.
Right.
So like if he wasn't home there in the office, you know, I could answer for him or whatever, or people could call me and say, like if somebody called me and goes, "Do you keep Glenn's calendar?" And I said, "No." And I said, "You can call him directly and talk to him yourself," you know.
Yeah.
But what was nice is that it was kind of like I was the administrative assistant for the department basically.
Yeah.
Because so I did a lot of just organizing stuff for the department
Yeah.
or sending out memos to the department.
I'm a little
you know.
scared of that job because it you know, you have to do board liaison stuff and
Yeah,
board meetings.
I was always terrified of having, you know, like I was very grateful that I didn't have to do like airplane tickets and things like that, you know, to send them here and there. It's like, whoa, you know, because I knew.
I think that job entails that kind of stuff. And then you know, liaison with the board and board materials and meeting materials and all that stuff.
It's scary until you learn how to do it.
I know.
You know, when I was a supervisor of that program, my supervisor above me, you know, he did all his own stuff, but he wasn't in our program.
Yeah.
And people would call and say, you know, can you transfer me to him? No.
Yeah.
You know, all of us had our own cell phones and we were contacted by our personal cell phones. But if you were a high enough level, the company paid for a cell phone for you.
Uh-huh.
So as a supervisor, I had a cell phone. But nobody knew that number because I had used my own cell phone for so long that I had to keep both on me in case, you know, one of the higher up people
looked up your number.
Wanted to call me, but I can't even remember how many times I got a call on that phone. Almost never. And it was hard to keep it charged because all of the supervisors got the same phone, right? And so the cleaning crew would come in, and if I had the stuff like that out, they would take it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not talking about the individuals. I'm talking about the other employees there. The cleaning crew, the staff mostly just sat around playing on their phone while the people cleaned. So their phones would die. So they would go look for our chargers. And one time I'm walking all over trying to find my charger because it wasn't in the office where it was supposed to be, which was locked. So I knew it was a staff that had gone in there. And I had to go to that staff supervisor and say, "Can you tell them to stop taking stuff out of my office?" You know, I know the company bought it, but it's not theirs.
Yeah.
They can't use it. You know? And I bought we had a big order that came in on a huge truck, U.S. Foods, I think it was. And it would have stuff for all of the DTAs and the main office and all that. And one of the problems with that, well, we also ordered from like Uline and stuff like that. One of the problems with that is that we were never the first people to see the orders. So if we ordered something that somebody else thought, oh, they would just take it. You know, because like if I had something coming up and I wanted like little cupcakes or something like that to give them, you know, like at a party or something like that, where are my little cupcakes? The thing says they came.
Oh no.
Oh, we put them in the break room. The main office people, you know. That didn't happen often, but it did happen. And then I had an order from Uline that came in, and because I ordered, I don't remember what, it said if you order this much money, you get this free thing. Still don't know who took that free thing. And it was something fun,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, one of the times I got it looked like a palette, you know, like that product comes on, you know, the little wooden pallets. It looked like that, but it had a little Post-it note stuck on it. Everybody's like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, I said I wanted it when I ordered my U-line, and they sent it. It was free. Go order one.
I love both of my jobs, both at
Me.
Family Life and at Blue Cross Blue Shield. One of the jobs I had was ordering office products.
Yeah. Ooh, fun.
And I loved it because at Family Life, you know, I just was always ordering pens and whatever. But at Blue Cross, the catalog or whatever that I ordered from, I would order like Post-it notes for, you know, because that we use those all the time. And one of the things the plastic Post-it like flags, you know, they would oftentimes come with a free pen. And so that's why I get all these free pens. I'm like, oh, that's what I need.
Oh, they came directly to you, so you could keep your free pen.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a really nice perk because I you know, office product fetish.
Well, that one free thing that was supposed to come in. I said it says here they sent it. Do you know who took it? We never saw it. I don't think it came. If it's on the packing slip,
It came.
it probably came. Now I did order for craft store in Florida, and I know that the packing slip sometimes doesn't have stuff in it. That's why you check it. But I'm like, yeah, I think it probably did. But okay.
Well, I was so proud of myself yesterday. So I have on Fridays. So if we have a show at night, a lot of times in the box office we wind up doing 12-hour days, right? So we start at like 8:45 in the morning, and we work till 5, and then at 5 we transition over to the show. Box office opens 5:30, and then we work until after the intermission. So usually like 8:39 o'clock at night. So now, and when we have a 12-hour day, we get an hour lunch, but then we don't get time for dinner. Now, in real life, I never eat dinner at 5 o'clock, but for some reason, when I go to a show, I get over to the box office and I'm starving and I'm so hungry and everything smells like food outside downtown and I'm so hungry. Right, it's me every week. So Wednesday we had this week we had a show Wednesday night and we had a show Friday night, and they're both contemporary music, very small ensembles and small short program, no intermission. But it was in a church, and it was a really ancient church downtown, and it was like a drafty barn. Now the church itself was warm because of course it has to be warm for the musicians, but we were in the little lobby, you know, narthex, whatever you want to call it, and all the doors were just open, you know, and it was so cold in there. And so
did they call them intimate neighborhood concerts?
No.
Oh.
No, this is called Reverb because it's it's contemporary music, and with Jennifer Coe, violinist. Anyway, it was really cold, and you know it's all concrete and like, you know, shadow, and it's awful. So Wednesday night I was freezing. I was so cold and I was hungry and I was miserable, and I'm like, Now because of my schedule, I had worked half finance in the morning and then half box office. So, and because of the hours and trying to make everything work out, I only had a half hour for lunch that day, and then of course I didn't have any dinner break. So I was miserable. and cold and sad, right? So here comes Friday, and I'm like, you know what? I may go out for lunch, but I'm gonna take soup in a thermos for the show. As I have this thermos, it's so great. It's a little thermos, and it has a top, and it has a spoon in it, and then it has another top. It's a little folding spoon, and so in the morning. Now, okay, I have to tell you this other story. As a caveat to that story, for some stupid reason, I have not been sleeping well. I stay up late, sleep knitting, and then I sit in my chair going, I should go to bed. I should go to bed. I should go to bed. And Tuesday night, or was it Wednesday night? I think it was Wednesday night after the show. Yeah, I came home. I was cold, miserable. I got in my chair. I was like, oh, so miserable, so sad. And I started watching this show on Netflix called The Hatch Wielding Hitchhiker.
I saw that.
The Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
It's a very weird and interesting documentary. But I kept falling asleep. And so I'd rewind it, and I'd fall asleep in the same place, and I'd rewind it, and I'm like, I want to see the end of the story. And so I kept trying to watch it. And finally I'm like, I give up. I gotta go to bed. And I sat there. And so then after I gave up and wanted to go to bed, I'm sitting in my chair, like half asleep, like, okay, Hobbs, get off me, I need to go to bed. And finally I look, and it's like 3:45 or something stupid in the morning. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm like, if I want to have a full-time job, and I'm going to think about being a CEO assistant or whatever, I got to get myself in order. Now, I did not have to be at the office the next morning, because Eli had a dental thing and whatever. So I didn't have to wake up, super early. But I took Eli to the dentist, and then I went to work in the afternoon. And by 5 o'clock, I was like, I'm spent. So I got home, we had dinner, and at 9:30, I'm like, I'm going to bed. So I went to bed at 9:30 on Thursday night, because I knew I had this horrible day on Friday. I had to be at work at 8:30 on Friday and work until 8:30 at night. And I woke up. So I went to sleep around 9:30, 10-ish, and I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. That's the time I woke up, and I laid in bed for a while reading, trying to go back to sleep. Didn't work. So by about 5, I guess, I got up and I took a bath and watched the rest of that show that I couldn't watch Tuesday night, and luxuriated in the bath, and then, I do a bath and shower, whatever. And then I got up, I got dressed, into my pajamas, not into work clothes yet, because it was very early. It was like 6 o'clock. And I always have to take a pill and wait a half hour, right? So I decided to knit during that half hour, and then I made myself eggs and toast for breakfast.
Oh.
I got dressed, and I got to work on time. But while I was making the eggs, I heated up some soup, and I heated up my thermos, and I put the soup in the thermos. I'm like, this is what I'm going to have at the show. And so then here comes lunchtime, and I'm thinking, I'm worried my soup is not going to be hot by 7:30 when the show starts, because I can't eat it, while we're doing ticketing. I can only eat it after the show starts and everybody's in the hall, right? So I'm like, so I have this genius idea, and I'm like, I'm going to do this every week when it's cold like this. I went ahead and ate that soup for lunch, right? And a whole sleeve of Ritz crackers, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, it made me happy. So I ate that, and then at 4 o'clock, because the phones were not busy, I said to my colleague, do you mind if I go over to Potbelly and get some soup? So what I did was, I rinsed out my thermos, I went to Potbelly, got some of their chicken pot pie soup, and I said, I want the topping on the side, because they put it's like a pie crust crumble that you put on top of the soup. So they gave it to me on the side. So
You're making me hungry.
That soup is so good. I'm so sad that the Potbelly down here closed.
It was on a bad corner.
I know. It was in a bad place. Anyway, I put that in my thermos and closed it all up and had the pot pie topping, put it in my little lunch bag, and I took it to the show. So as soon as everyone was in the hall, I said to my boss, may I eat my soup now? And I ate my soup. I was full and warm and happy, and I knew I had a cookie. Because they also sell chocolate chip brownie cookies at Potbelly that are the best cookies in the world. If any of you have a Potbelly near you, you must eat these. So anyway, I had that in my bag, and I was too full to eat it. I was so proud of myself, and I was content and happy at a show for the first time since ever. So I'm like, for Totally 80s, guess what? I'm getting soup. So I'm so proud. I'm like, I feel like I've just, not only did I get enough sleep and actually like so of course, because I woke up at 3:30, you know, and was kind of up since then, at 3:30 on Friday afternoon, I'm kind of like, no, I'm tired. But I got home and I'm like, I've been up way too long. I'm going to bed like I'm like an old person. But
Yesterday,
it feels good to get sleep. It's a revolution to me.
Yesterday was the first day in days and days that I went outside.
Oh no.
I mean, for longer than to take the trash cans out or something. As a matter of fact, I forgot to take the last trash can in from yesterday because, I mean, I went out, we had the yard done, and I had to run and get money from the bank, but that's not really going out,
Right,
you know.
right.
The yard guys, they don't take checks or Venmo or anything, they take cash. So, but all I can do is sleep, and you know, most nights before I got this cold that Robert gave me, I would start cross stitch about 7 and go straight to midnight, with maybe stopping a little while to eat dinner, right? Sometimes I'd start earlier than that, and I'd be like cross stitching for maybe half an hour and say, okay, I'm done, and I'd sit around and just stare at the walls because I could not concentrate on anything. I just, and you know, yeah, every 5 minutes I was getting up and putting something away, you know. I took my time putting away Christmas because I didn't feel good, and I was like, that is not an emergency, you know. And I'm not gonna get up and try to do that stuff when I feel so awful. And I've still got this cough now. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, you know, where I can
Eli
get stuff
still
done.
has a cough. He got sick around the same time all of y'all did.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Mark got sick. Eli got sick. Both of you, Robert, and I have been.
Because you're never home.
You'd think I'd be more sick.
But
I always worry grabbing everyone's ID and credit card.
Yeah.
The show.
I told myself if I didn't start to feel better, I would need to go and see the doctor and all that. And I was like, I don't want to go out of the house to see the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, that's what's always the dilemma nowadays is that, you know, when you go to see the doctor, they'll take your temperature or they'll ask you, you know, have you been around anybody who has COVID, blah, 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 blah.
Do you have a
cough? I'm like, okay, if I was sick, wouldn't I have to go see the doctor anyway? If I was sick enough to, you know.
No. Well, you know, it's been 3 years, you know. If they think you have COVID, they don't want you there. They want you at the hospital.
Like the plague or something.
Well, that's what it was!
No, but I mean, like the bubonic plague. I mean, you know, people dropping dead, you know, in front of your eyes or something. Yeah. And it's like, you know, like.
They just don't want it to spread more.
Yeah, I know. But I was like, but if I'm sick, don't I, you know, like, I don't know, I have to.
No, they don't want you there.
Yeah.
Oh no, I found a boo-boo.
So did I.
I found a boo-boo. Okay, but I do have my knitting bag, so I can put a marker and fix it.
Shoot.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a wellness appointment with Dr. Slovak on Monday. And I'm like, and I gotta be well enough to have.
So
a
you know what
wellness
I'm having? I have this
appointment.
weird thing now that I have this full-time job, which I don't think I've had a full-time job since before Eli was born.
Mhm.
And I don't have to do it anymore because I was like, I need to get my windshield fixed. I need to get my oil changed. I need to schedule like a regular main doctor's appointment. And I'm like, how do people do that? Oh, they just miss work.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't want to miss work. But
You know, the nice thing about it was probably one of the only nice things about being a supervisor there with that program. If I could drag myself to work for 2 hours, I would get paid for the whole day.
wow.
So, you know, if you had appointments or something and you couldn't go in and you got approved, you know, to not be in there right then, as long as you were there for 2 hours,
Oh wow.
you were counted as in. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that works for me.
That's nice.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You know, it's funny
It's gonna
when
take me forever.
I was
It was
working
physically very hard job.
when I was working for Family Life, you know, as the AA for the department, people would oftentimes ask me like every once in a while a team leader position would come up, and they would say, well, you should apply for that. I'm like, I don't want to, because if I was a team leader, then that would mean I would have to, like, for all the people that I was supervising, whatever, I'd have to do like you know, their annual reviews and things like that. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Well,
You know, I don't want that kind of responsibility. I don't, you know, because as it was, I was kind of a supervisor, like after, because we were open till 6, and so after 5 o'clock, you
Yeah.
know, the team leaders would be
well,
gone,
I
the
think
boss would
what
be
they were
gone.
probably
So
saying
I would be,
was
you know,
could make more money.
Well,
right?
yeah, but
So
you know, it's like,
that's
yeah,
a thing.
I didn't want to, because, like, you know, it
Well,
was
sometimes
just
you don't have the luxury of not wanting to make more money.
yeah, but it
You
was
know.
just like, you know, it was the, well, and also because I you know, had the symphony job,
Yeah, I know.
you know, that I had to, like, some days I would have to come in later, I would
Yeah, you
take a
gotta
day off,
protect
or I
your-
would do, you know, whatever.
Your flexibility.
So yeah,
But like so Mark was like, well, I imagine, because he wasn't too keen on the whole assistant job. He thinks that it would be too much, which it might be. And
Mhm.
you know, I'm sort of trying to reserve my my thoughts until I get a taste of it and see, which is nice. You don't always get that, right? You don't
Yeah.
always get to give it a try, which I
Mhm.
get to give the CEO a try, and I get to give the job a try before I decide if that's something I would want to do full time. But Mark was like, I could see you, you know, getting in a real, like, you know, he's like, if your boss ever leaves the box office, you could run the box office. And I'm like, I kind of don't think I would. I said, my anti-goal is to never have to make a budget. Like, that's like that's the thing that, like, that's one of those things, like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that, and I don't want to do that. I know it's all learnable stuff, but you know, who knows? But I might change my mind later. But a little bit, I think this would be kind of cool, and it would be hard, and it would be a lot of work. But I don't know. Maybe I'm game for it. We'll see. We'll see. But for now, we'll just do Happy Z's. I get to finally meet him by phone, talk to him on Monday, so that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So I know that I saw a bunch of the CEO applicants walk through, and I don't know if he's one of the ones that I'm trying to remember if I saw him walk through on one of those days, but I can't remember. I know what he looks like, right? Because they've made all the press releases and announcements, but I'm like, is that the guy I saw? I don't remember.
I remember when we were doing our conductor searches. Well, I remember we did 2 while I was there. We did the one when David Itkin came.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 93-ish. And but I remember, like, all the people that came in to apply, you know, that when you apply as a conductor, part of your job is, you know, you get up and conduct the orchestra, and for one concert or whatever. And I remember there was one guy that came and the concert that he conducted was one of our chamber concerts, and I was like, it's kind of like a teacher position in a way that, it's like you're sitting there going, yeah, he doesn't have like command of the orchestra in a way,
Yeah.
and he was real quiet kind of, and I thought, well, he's very good in a way, but how would he be in a big rehearsal, with a full orchestra, whatever is, and there was another guy he had some position with a chamber group or something, and I just wasn't crazy about him. And there was a guy, I remember this, there was one guy who conducted a regular concert, and I just really didn't like him.
Yeah.
And then finally, like, David was one of the last people that came in. He came in kind of at the last minute, and everything, but he was really good, and everybody really liked him. So he was there for a long time. So then anyway, when he left, we were again auditioning people, and that guy that I didn't like
came back.
He came back again, and I was like,
Didn't you get
I
the
really
hint?
don't like this guy. And he was the one that in rehearsal he was saying, well, play it like this, and he would sing, blah blah blah, whatever the thing was, not like that, but like this, and then it was like, and then he would say something like, well, I really can't explain it anymore, and everybody's looking at him like, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
You have one job. Your one job is to explain it.
Yeah, and everybody's like, yeah, I don't like this guy either, And I remember, I don't know if it was the first time he auditioned with us, or the second time, when he was applying with us, that he said something about how, well, I don't really like to rehearse. I like, I'm like,
you have one job, and that's to rehearse.
And it was just like, you are such a jerk.
The conductor we have right now, he is he's fantastic. I hope he never leaves. I have no idea, but he is so great. He's world travel. I mean, he's always, when he's not here. I mean, this is his. I guess it's his main gig. He's our conductor, but he also just travels all over. He goes everywhere, all over the world. Yeah. And I think is very well regarded. And he's just so articulate and smart. I can tell that he's smart. I mean, I don't know what he's like to work with. Who knows, right? But he seems well liked, and like most of the time he conducts with no score. Yeah. And he's just great. I really like him a lot.
We've been talking for 2 hours.
Well, no, we've been talking for a while, and also sweeping up dog.
That's true.
Sweeping up fluff.
Yeah.
And stopping
dealing with the dog.
Watching toys be destroyed before our eyes. We keep trying to buy her toys that she can't.
Everybody's like, I think I got her one that she can't destroy really fast.
We were at the grocery store the other day. I was getting cat food, and so I stopped and I looked at the dog toys, and I was like, they have these really cute hedgehogs that when you squeeze them, they have like a sound. They were really adorable, but I thought she would so destroy that.
I bought her a toy that was supposed to be indestructible, and she had it for about half an hour, and she shredded.
Oh, I'm gonna put pictures here. We had gift cards for Target, and I didn't know what to use. When you don't have any money, you want everything, and when you have money, you're like, I don't know. Anyway, so I was wandering around, I had these gift cards, and I'm like, I never get them anything. I never buy our kitties stuff. Oh, that's not true. But I got them one of those
towers.
Those towers with the balls that go around, and they love it. And then I got them this wild hair. I got them this. It's called a feline diner or whatever. Yeah. It's a little house that you build out of cardboard with one on the bottom, one on top of
stretchy
cardboard and corrugated board, whatever it's called. And they're so cute. They love it. Of course, Calvin went right in. And you remember I told you about getting him into the carrier? I'm like, if I could take him to the vet in that. But he loves hidey holes. So they knocked it over the other night. But they love it. It's so cute. It's got little fish on it and stuff.
There's a guy, it's Cole and Marmalade, their cats. Well, Cole Cole passed away.
Yeah.
So they have Marmalade, and they have like I think a couple of new cats now. But they do the craziest things with I don't know, save cardboard boxes or something, and they build like for the holidays for Halloween, for Christmas, whatever. They build these gigantic like as big as this dining room area, you know, these big elaborate like castles and paint, you know, I don't know what all for the cats. And it's really hilarious. All the, you know, and they do stuff like, you know, they tape it together, but they paint it and they do the, you know, all this.
But it's
really
nice because you
elaborate
can just
stuff.
pitch it.
Yeah, because the cats can destroy it, and it's like no big deal.
Well, so there goes Hobbs, who loves paper. He goes, he's biting on the cardboard. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, there was some pictures I've seen where there's things like that, but they're all chewed across the top. Yeah, well, and I have a little chewy box that I have in the corner of my room for the cats, because then they can, you know, especially Puck. Snug tends to leave it alone, but Puck loves boxes. I have a whole bunch of pictures of him when I was getting ready to move out here, you know, because I would like have all these boxes that I would take home, and he's just sitting in the box. Like,
Yeah,
look, it's a box. And yeah, so I keep that chewy box in there for him, and every once in a while he gets in there, and I hear because he's pushing it around or whatever.
Oh yeah, these cats. Crazy cats. Well, thank you for joining us another week.
Yes.
Hope your January's going well. It's almost February.
Don't say that.
Huh?
Don't say that.
Okay, I won't say that. It'll still be almost February.
I'm trying to make my.
Oh, but see, look, I meant to say I got my hair cut.
Oh yeah, so
because of my new maybe boss. I thought I need to look like a grown up. My hair was cut all stupid. Oh, I finally found this lady. I'm like, I'm never going to anyone else but you. So she fixed my hair.
Yeah,
she's like, what did they do to you? I'm like, they were your employees, ma'am. They cut my hair dry. She goes, say no more.
When we went to get our haircut yesterday, we were talking about to the women. It's like they were looking on the computer and they're like, we hadn't had our haircut since September, since we cut it for Dad's memorial service, and my hair was like getting so long. Yeah. And so in the front it doesn't really look that different, but it's short in the back.
So happy haircuts all around. And here's the dog who's so naughty. There she is.
She did
so
not
naughty.
get a haircut.
She didn't get a haircut. She ate all the things. Today was the eating dog.
She doesn't need a haircut. She's bald.
Are you bald? Bye. Bye.